Dear all, good morning. I am Miss Noble A. Paliath, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Sacred Heart College for Women, Chalakudi. As mentioned earlier, in today's class, I plan to analyze different definitions of language. Definitions of language are not difficult to find. Of the umpteen available definitions and statements of language, today we will discuss five commonly accepted and approved ones as contributed by the experts in the field of linguistics. The five prominent experts are Leonard Bloomfield, C.L. Barber, Edward Sapir, Hall, and Noam Chomsky. Now, let's try to understand language from the point of view of Leonard Bloomfield. Perhaps because of its familiarity, we rarely observe it, taking it rather for granted, as we do breathing or walking. The effects of language are remarkable and include much of what distinguishes man from the animals. Now let's try to extract the key words from this definition. Familiarity, rarely observe it, breathing or walking, distinguishes man from the animals. According to Leonard Bloomfield, language has become an integral part of our lives. It is so inextricably and inseparably linked to the lives of the common man. Language has become so familiar to us. As a result of this familiarity, we rarely observe it. We hardly notice it. Language is often compared to, it is often equated with breathing or walking. Language is the factor that differentiates, distinguishes, and demarcates the entire mankind from the animals. Now let's try to understand language from the viewpoint of C.L. Barber. According to him, language is the most remarkable tool that man has invented and is one that makes all the others possible. Language, in fact, is the great machine tool which makes human culture possible. The key words in this definition are the most remarkable tool man has invented, the great machine tool. So, according to C.L. Barber, language is the most remarkable tool and the great machine tool ever invented by mankind. Let's try to construe language from the standpoint of Edward Sapir. According to Edward Sapir, language is a purely human and non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions, and desires by means of voluntarily produced symbols. The key words are human, non-instinctive, communicating ideas, emotions, and desires, and symbols. According to Edward Sapir, language is human specific. human beings alone are endowed with the gift of language. The physical aspects like human teeth, larynx, etc. help human communication stand out from other forms of communication. It is only because of this language that we human beings are able to store knowledge and disseminate it to the upcoming generations. Language is non-instinctive as it is acquired by human beings. Human beings acquire language because he has an innate ability to do so. Language is a prerogative of human beings. As a result of this, we are able to communicate endless number of ideas, emotions, and desires. Language is a group of symbols. Language uses words as symbols. These words signify, they refer to certain objects and concepts. All these are interpretative in nature. And human beings are alone capable of this kind of endless interpretation. Now let's try to see the second to last definition in today's class as given by Hall. In the words of Hall, language is the institution whereby humans communicate and interact with each other by means of habitually used oral, auditory, arbitrary symbols. The key words are institution, communicate and interact, habitually, oral auditory symbols, and arbitrary. According to Hall, language is an institution, which means language that is used by a particular society becomes a part of that society's culture. Language is a mode of communication and interaction. Human beings communicate language habitually. Habitually in the sense identifiable, predictable. Humans being communicate by means of oral auditory symbols. That means we communicate by means of a series of vocal symbols, speech sounds, sound segments, and these are transmitted from the speaker, oral, to the listener, auditory. Hall also says that language is arbitrary. Language is arbitrary, which means there is no one-to-one correspondence, there is no one-to-one connection between the word and its meaning, the linguistic form and its meaning. Let's try to understand language from the stance of Noam Chomsky. According to him, language is a set of finite or infinite sentences, each finite in length and constructed out of a finite set of elements. In Chomsky's words, language consists of a set of finite sounds in it, a set of finite letters of the alphabet in it. Now we can go on framing infinite distinct sentences, and each sentence will consist of a finite set of sounds or letters of the alphabet in it. So, this is all about today's class. I have tried to briefly discuss the different definitions of language as laid down by illustrious linguists. These definitions of language can also be considered as a lead session. Why? Because today's class inevitably lead you to the next concept, that is properties or features or characteristics of language, which I will be discussing in the next video presentation. Until we meet again, all the best. Thank you.